Today we're diving into 4-1-2-1-2 wide variation. If the narrow variation doesn't work, this is definitely going to be the answer. The perfect counter when your opponent shuts down the middle with the left mid and right mid giving you wing overload and power. This setup lets you stretch defenses, break through the flanks, and get those one-on-one chances with the goalkeeper. Let's break the tactics that make this formation so dangerous. You can see here that we've got the build of assault on counter and the defensive approach on balance. Just like the previous one, if you checked out my 4-1-2-1-2 narrow variation, we're keeping it at 50. It works perfect. And a little assault on counter, definitely. We don't go for anything, especially with the FUT Champs now, where you want to have those attacking forces from your players. You can certainly get this from counter. And of course the 50 again, I told you guys between 50 to 60, that's a sweet spot right now for, I would say, any tactic, especially if you lack defensively. Moving on to the player orders, you could see I have both of my striker on posture. In this way, you could see I've got my strikers going at the same, like close to each other, and of course now I'm giving them a lot of space because I want them to be inside or around the penalty area, not necessarily a lot of maneuver outside the box. For the cam, you could see I've got my cam on shadow striker. In this way, I have my cam just as a second striker. In this way, I have a cam behind two strikers. This one being on shadow striker, those two, it's kind of you attacking with three players at the same time. It could be very good to throw balls with your striker, even getting past the defender and score you. So with your cam, can give you a massive help. So the main difference between the narrow variation now, the left mid and right wing. What's the difference? Why not on, you could see it's on winger, why not on inside forward? As you could see from a lot of guys, like almost all the formations here, you could see here, even my previous one, you could see my 4-4-2, my 4-2-1-3, my 4-5-1. I have all of them on inside forward. In this formation, I told you, if you have trouble going from the middle, okay, if you want to go for the middle and it's locked, there's no way. Using the wing this way can benefit you, can break the defense, get past those defender. You could see that, of course, the line, the maneuver area for the movement area for the left mid and right mid is these areas, like these lanes. Okay, there's still a lot of space in this side. They're not going to go down the way, you know it. If you use them on winger, you obviously aren't going to see them, of course, in the close to your camera striker behind the penalty area, but you don't necessarily need this in this formation because you already have these two strikers. This striker being on push is still going to get out of their penalty area, especially when you are attacking before they get to the penalty area. And of course, imagine your cam has the way you want to get to the penalty area. You have three players going out. You can trigger those to go for. They have a little bit of space between them. The two striker, you can pass either to a left striker or right striker. You don't necessarily want your right wing or left wing to be that close to you. You have space down the wings, especially again in those formation, in those matches where you have trouble going from the middle. Then you want to use the flanks. That's where you want to put these two on right winger and left wing. Winger balance for right mid and left mid. And of course, you want to put them on balance. You don't want to go with attach. It's going to be too much. But if you put them on, you see on balance, you get that defensive support as well too. And I want to show you the perfect example of why this winger works as opposed to inside forward. So you could see here, I have, this is my cam. This is FUT Champ, guys. This is cam. You can see that a lot of players around me. I have this player, this player, this player, this player, this player will, like this is my my other striker. He was there before I moved him on, but he will go somewhere around here. And this player is obviously my other striker. Okay, and this is my left mid. You could see how far it is from. Like he should be somewhere around here, close to this player, but because on winger, he's further away, closer to the wing. Here you could see I don't have the option, but you look at all of these spaces. Okay, if you there is no one, right? Look what happens now. Look what happens. I go and here like this. I go for this. Look at this. There's this player there. This is my right mid. Look how away this player is from the rest of the squad, and of course from my opponent's defenders. You could see it's a very compact. I had trouble going with this. You could see I had trouble going from the middle. You could see it's very close. You have a lot of players there. Even has a CDM, probably like on like deep on playmaker, deep on holding, and basically it's a CDM that doesn't necessarily mean on anything. While defending, it's going to be close to your opponents, close to your center backs. So it's very close for me to go that way. This way I had support. Even so you could see my left mid how like on mark he is. I pass. If this player was on this player, my right mid, you could see I pass with Kudus. If he was on inside forward in this situation in against these types of defending, he would have been somewhere around like here, like probably covered. But this player could have easily just go for the tackle or anything. But because this player is away from these players, you could see how easy I go. I get inside, I pass, I score with the same player. I scored my camp. This is what happens. That's how important this is to know why. Sometimes you want to go with ringers, sometimes you want to go with inside forward. This is exactly the reason. You see, I went that one, I triggered that player. This player didn't even trigger this player. She went inside just by the A because she's on shadow striker. Naturally, he will try to be like your second, or in this case, third striker while playing. Goes inside, gets in there. You could see it's perfect chance. I'm using fast plays in the situation, and of course I get in there and I get the goal. So if you have any trouble going from the middle, this is definitely gonna be very helpful, especially with the fact that you have a cam, and it's not like if it's a 4-4-2, you want to put this on 4-4-2, but some wing is gonna be it's gonna give you space, but there's no one in the middle to actually receive the ball, do these types of 1-2 this good, this I would say comfortable as you could do with a cam. You could do this with striker. There's no one to actually get inside. It's going to make it harder. But if you do it with this, it's going to make it very easy. And of course, guys, definitely puts players like left and right mid, fast players, guys. Like, forget the finishing. Prioritize fast. Above 90, you could say I've got Dolan. It's above 90. Kudus. I know Kudus is above 90s on default. I put also a Hunter and Scar is going to make it above 95, 96 or something. And even this one, Dolan, I think it's above 90, but even if he's not, I'm sure with I put the Hunter and Scar, he's above 90 or so as well. So definitely fast player. And even for this cam role, guys, don't put players like this Vitinha. You could see he also plays as a cam, but he's not good for a cam. Okay, you want basically second string. This is a good writing. Oh my god, I wish she had just Shadow Striker Plus. But anything else, she does a perfect job. She scores lots of goals. If she added Plus, could be way better. But again, the type of player you should use here, like a striker that also plays as a cam, or just a cam who's very, like in this case, left mid cam. Just a player who has good speed, good finishing ability, good dribbling. Like play styles, like even in this case, rapid is good for the finishing. If you had like for the passing, sorry, maybe ping pass or incisive pass for the through balls could be very good. But don't use cracky players. Don't use players like Bruno Fernandes or like a De Bruyne, or maybe even like Bellingham is okay. I don't even necessarily recommend Bellingham even because he's a little bit cranky. You want fast players in this position. For the CDM, yes, this is where it gets a little bit. You may think you lose a defensive side because you have left mid. You don't have left center mid, right center mid. Like for the 4-1-2-1-2, the narrow variation, you lose. Of course, you're giving more space to your opponents, but that's not necessarily the case because I'm putting my left mid, right mid on the winger balanced. First of all, because they are left mid, right mid, they naturally get behind the. They join the defense. They get back. They try to help the defense to some extent. That's from this. The next thing is a CDM. Yes, it does. Okay, I can switch to this. If you do the good timing with your CDM, okay, like go for the right timing of stand tackles. You have a good sense of anticipation. You can certainly do a good job in terms of defending, but don't necessarily think that you're going to give a lot of space for your opponents because first of all, you're putting this on 50, okay, your players are going to be close when you have the ball, and your left back, right back on fullback balance. When they are balanced, they kind of get a little bit kind of like they cover these areas as well. You could see here they kind of you can cover these areas as well with your left back and right back too. In some cases, like my left back Marcelo, my opponent was trying to get like go for the through balls from these line, like, and my left back got the ball, and I still didn't lose a lot of wing side of it because it's on fullback balance. Fullback defense is good. It's too defensive, I think, at the moment. Versatile, it gets a little bit out of position. Balance is perfect out, I believe, at the moment, because you get a bit of from that side of the wing, and of course you can close out the defense, the space between your right back and your center back. Same thing for your left back and your left center back. You can close the defense. Does a pretty good job overall. So these two and your CDM, of course, being on deep line playmaker build up, they can do a pretty good job in terms of defending. But again, of course, this isn't a defensive formation. It's a good, I would say it's a kind of generally 4-1-2-1-2 formation or attacking formation. They can do a pretty good job in terms of attacking. They have force going at the same time. You have a cam, so not necessarily defensive, but you can still defend well with this. And CDM being on deep line playmaker build up, of course you don't want to go with this. You could certainly benefit from the player from your CDM, and if you put this on holding, yes, it makes it a bit defensive, but you put this on deep line playmaker build up, you certainly have a second, like whenever you lose the ball, you have a player that could actually get the ball back immediately, go for the throw balls, and it could be very helpful in terms of starting the ball. If you like very much in terms of defending, put this on deep line playmaker defend. If even that was not ideal, put this on holding to make it maybe like even more defensive. But I still recommend keep this on deep line playmaker. Go either with build up or defend, just to make it defensive. But I would say I'll go with build up unless I'm playing against very hard defender. Like I want to close out the match. I just don't want to concede. I mean, that way I would go for deep line playmaker defense, maybe even holding. Okay, but overall, deep line playmaker build up. For the defenders, you could see if you checked out my previous custom practice about the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow variation, I put these two on defender balance. You can still go for that one if you want. That's very good. But because in this case, if that was like in that formation, I had centimeters, I could cover them if I lose the ball. If they would just come a little bit out of position, I can use my centimeter, kind of like a, let's just say my centimeter goes for the ball, and this defender makes it even harder and put pressure. I would just help me to get the ball back faster, But in this case, because there's just a lot of space in there, you have to be a little bit careful in these spaces. There's just no one display. You just want to be a little bit more careful, not to be a little bit aggressive. So I found that if you put this in defender balance, it may make it even a little bit harder in terms of just being that out of position, having your center backs. It's still good defender balance. You can go for it if you want. It does a pretty good job. But for now, just keep this on defender defend. You have a solid kind of, if you want to go for a starting the attack, you have a solid back for this. I may switch it up in defender balance if I play more matches against some players. Definitely, if it's something I will definitely have a video on that and just update everything, in that moment. For now, defender defend, it does an okay job. For the goalkeeper, I started same thing for the previous video when I went with ball player, keeper. Sometimes I tend to recently I started to play more with my keeper, just kind of occupy, frustrate my opponent, ball back to my goalkeeper. Not necessarily when I'm winning. If it's a draw, even if I'm behind, I want to start the build up with my goalkeeper. It kind of keeps my opponent kind of like, oh, he's playing this way. He's keeping it. He's slowing down the game. It gets a little bit frustration. That gives me an edge to a good distance, but still it's not going to be crazy. I don't do it a lot, but I just like this. I'm gonna keep it for a while. I may switch back to goalkeeper or super keeper in the later videos. But overall, I've told you guys in all of my custom decks video, it doesn't matter which one you go for. Even if you put this on goalkeeper, it's still gonna be a goalkeeper. Nothing much, nothing more than that. So for now, I'm just gonna go with a ball playing keeper because it's working well for me. So that's what this. Now I'm gonna show you some example. Let's see how you can actually defend from this formation. How you can actually get the ball back. So you can see what's just show you guys once again. This is my opponent's attacking. It's just a middle, like below, like not even minute 1. Just started the match in the FUT Champ. You could see how well like the defensive side of my formation. The first thing that I told you guys: defender balance and defender defend. If you pay attention to this, look at this. This is my defender Pacho, my opponent's striker. Look what happens here. Like, this is play on mark, right? I have one CDM. This is my CDM covering this area, and you could see there's gaps between these two, right? There's this clear gap. If this was on defender balance, this player would have been here, like after, like not behind this line, outside of the penalty area. Okay, defender balance does that, but here you can see it's not on this. But why did I told you guys to go for defender defend? Because if this player was here, this player would have been on mark. This player, yes, he's there, but if imagine there's another player there. Okay, this player, okay, Araujo should be for a player that might come from this area. This is the player that should be marked by this player, okay? And because I have only one CDM, okay, and I don't want to necessarily risk it. Yes, there are. I told you guys to go for a defender balance for the situation, for the time when you don't, like, you have centimeters, not CDM. But in the cases where I have like 2 centimeters, still 2 players you can switch on them, get back. In this case, I only have one CDM. Okay, so there aren't 2 players covering these areas. All right, so it's a more conservative way of defending, not necessarily getting behind it, being defensive. It's just basically just a way of playing, making them a little bit more conservative in terms of going. So you could see what happens. Has the ball, I switch. He doesn't get the same because this player is blocked by this player. Passes. Can move forward. You could see the defensive shape. You could see my left back, 2 center backs, and my right back are there covering. And look what happens at the end of this movement by my opponents. Does all the movement and just gets blocked because there's no way to go for it. Okay, it's just all blocked from there, and I just went for a center. You could see in the whole process, I didn't go crazy. I didn't go aggressive. Didn't rush. I let him do his things. I stayed away, and I saw a chance, I went for it. We went for attack. You could see my cam. Oh my god, this player is always there starting the run. This is very important player. This is what actually makes this formation very good. You have a player puts in shadow striker, and it's going to be 2 strikers above, you can see in front of him, and you have wing overload. It's going to be make it very hard for the opponent to decide which player you're going to pass to. What are you going to do next? It's a very key player in this position. I go for I trigger my cam, pass to my right man because he's getting inside. I have my striker, a lot of movement. I still keep the ball. See, I still kept onto the ball. I could have passed the ball here, but you could see my opponent is concerned with this player. He's not coming towards me, giving me all of these spaces. And I know what's going to happen. You can even see look at my CDM. Look at my CDM. Tries to get inside. It's kind of like tries to kind of let's just say he wants to get there, like he wants to be a part of the attack. If this was a deep line playing a defense or holding, this play would have been somewhere around there, okay? Because some deep line playing you build up, you have an extra force, but at the same time you're keeping a good defensive side of, you're keeping your defensive shape in a good way, not necessarily being too open. Here we go for that one. I do a bit of movement, L1 dribbling, and R1. You could see I created space for my other strikers. Why do you think this happened? Because I had another striker, and because it's some poacher, their main priority is to get there, is to occupy these places and get inside, make the run. This is the main priority. If you look at the movement of my striker Naz in this position, you can see she stayed there. She didn't like get out of position. She stayed in this line. This isn't she didn't really pass that line. Actually, now this here. Stayed there. He stayed close to my opponent's center backs, but now it's offside. I have to find the right time. That's why I said, guys, timing really matters. I have to find the right timing. Now I do the movement. Now she's out of position. I'll go for the pass, take the shot. It didn't turn into a goal. This is all my fault. It's a clear chance. I should have scored it. So if you miss these types of chances, guys, work on your finishing, or do better next time. Do not blame anything, even the player. You could, if I went there and took the shot, certainly a goal without any doubts. So you guys saw how well and easy I broke my opponent's defense and just got into it. In this case, my opponent wasn't doing a very good job from the middle, but you can see further how he's doing a good job, and I have to go from the wing. Still, my priority is going to be playing from the middle. If that didn't work, I would go from the wing. Again, you could see how my opponent's players are constantly trying to put pressure on me. You could see here I get the ball back, having a CDM, being there, covering well. You could see I have my left mid, and of course you could see I have my cam. You could see my CDM getting kind of like ready to get inside, but I'm not necessarily doing it. You could see I was actually about my CDM here. You could see he gets inside. That's my set trigger him to go forward manually. That's just something you can do, but this trigger is actually really important to have. This offside, I keep the ball, I find the chance, I get inside. You could say I got inside. That's how you could. The fact that you get into penalty area, opponent's penalty area, that means you're doing okay. That means the formation is actually working. I passed. I just ended up this way. In another chance, you could see I showed you guys. I didn't have anything. It was still nil. Before this, I had a couple of chances. I just couldn't get inside, get past my opponent's defense line. Did this. Use my right feet being a winger, and I scored this goal. Again, you could see how I'm attacking. I have two striker, followed by my cam, and of course I have left mid and right mid. You could all of you could look at the space. Look at the space from my left mid. Could just go for an easy pass. Just get one on with the keeper. This is how good this formation can actually work from the wing. I go inside, turn back at all this move on. I try to find the best option. The works you can see, my opponent does a very good job. And up to this point, you could see he did a very good job from the middle, like attack the runs from the middle, from these areas. He did a really good job. So you can see here he defended very well actually in this position. So another example, you can see my opponent is attacking. Look at the defensive shape of my well, it's actually my team. It's actually was a corner here. I just kind of like at the position, but trying to get the ball back. Look how I defend, how I get the ball back. Look, okay. I didn't rush. I didn't go towards that. I stayed on this player and worried about this because this player is going from this way. Okay, that's the main concern of me in that situation. I go for that one. Now I go for it. I didn't even go do any tackles here. I just anticipated. Just wanted to do there. I just got the ball back. Now from here you can see my right mid was there close to me. If my right mid was like if it was this on attack or just didn't have any right mid, it was a right winger, he would have been like somewhere around there. Okay, it wouldn't be close to me because it's on the. That's why you still have to still come back to do help in terms of defending. I pass, trigger him to move forward. Again, pass to this player. Once again, I have a lot of space to trigger him to go forward, get one on one, take the shot. I still, again, missed the chance. I should have scored. Again, you could see how well I got inside. My striker got there. I passed to my cam. You may think this is my striker, but this is my cam being on shadow striker. That's how a shadow striker gets inside. I do believe shadow striker is better than playmaker in terms of attacking. So you want to make it. If you lack in terms of attacking, whatever formation you're using that has a cam, put that cam on shadow striker. If that player has shadow striker plus or plus plus, even better. And another example, you can see players starts the ball, my CDM is there, covering the chances. Once again, my right mid has the ball to my CDM, to my right mid. I lose the ball. I get the ball back again. Get inside, and you just score the next goal. A little bit of luck in here, you may say, but the fact that I have my CDM close to me, being a deep line playmaker, had extra help in there. Here, I got the ball again, being on left mid, was there to actually get inside and just eventually score the goal. Once again, you could see again how my opponent is, how he actually starts the match, and how I get the ball back in this position. You could say I just get inside, I just stay on my striker, follow that player, go for my second, like my cap. I get the ball back immediately. You could see how I'm going. I'm triggering players. My right mid or left mid back up there. I just trying to get inside, get on the ball, just lots of passes, go for the shot again. Good goalkeeping by my opponents, but you see it's like that every single time. To my left mid, cam, striker. That's just how it's going to be every single time. And this, you know what's good actually, your opponents can't really understand which play you're going to do it with next. Like there are 2-3 chances you do it, make them with your cam, and the next 2-3 chances you do with your striker. The next 2-3 chances do with your other striker. Then back to your cam. You have lots of options in terms of getting inside and just, you know, getting one-on-one. Once again, you could see how I'm defending, goes for the shot. You could see my left back is there. I keep my distance. We get the ball. We stop the attack. Once again, I get the ball. My right mid. That's why, guys, if it was the right mid, he wouldn't be here. Right mid, left mid. That's why that's try to keep them so close, especially being a winger. They tend to stay close to your this left back and right back. Triggering, you could see space. Look at the space. Look at the space. Look at this for my left mid. Being a winger, that's how helpful this is. I get inside. You can see how I'm going. Fast players, get inside, go for the pass, and it's a goal, guys. And that's a 4-1-2-1-2 wide variation, the perfect way to punish players who defend the middle lanes by hitting them hard on the wings. If this helped, smash that like button, subscribe for more meta tactics, and drop a comment on which formation you want me to cover next. Thanks for watching EAFC now, where every tactics becomes meta, and I'll see you guys in the next one.